Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, will you please put your paws together unless you're driving for my dear friend Mike Weaver, Big Daddy Weave.
Come on, dude. This is the day I've been waiting for, man. I've been counting down the moments.
Speaking of counting down, we have only so much time, and you, like a lot of times when I have a chat, an interview, I gotta fill a whole hour with this stuff. With you, I've put very little on this piece of paper. Well, just because you got a lot going on right now. It's not so much you're a talker nonstop. It's there's a lot of big
that, and not only that, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, with like a Plum. If I have Plum in here, she will talk. I just write, ladies and gentlemen, here's Plum. And then I just go get coffee. And every once in a while play a song. Anyway, we got so much to cover. First of all, big congrats coming next Friday, Friday the 13th. A brand new Big Daddy Weave album will be out.
Man, that's so man, we're excited about it, man. You know, this has been a long time coming. It's been like 4 years since the last record,
really?
You know. It's like, and that's like, I don't know, like dog years or something. It equates to a lifetime of some kind, you know.
Well, when every song on the last album goes number one, it makes it real hard for them to say, hey, can you go make another one? You're still, there's hit. And I know we're not all about hits and charts and stats with you. We're about bigger things than that.
It's all good.
But we're going to play a couple samplings for the audience today off the new album before it comes out next Friday.
That's exciting to me, man. Thanks for doing it, dude.
Yes. And also later in the chat, we're going to talk about a special People Can See You guys on TBN with a kind of a reality show. We're going to hit that in a second. And also you have a book that has just come out. So let's just dive right in with, I want to give our people a first sampling of the album right out of the gate. So let's go with Turn the Light On, just because, Turn the Light On?
Turn on the light, yep.
Turn on the light.
You got it.
Because this is the only one I've heard at least a little bit of. So let's go with this one. Can you just walk me up, Turn on the Light?
You know, from its inception, like you hear it and you hear the beat and you're like, man, this is such a joyful kind of anthem, but it came from this place that is rough. You know, we want to hide things. We don't know how to say what's inside a lot of times. And if you keep stuff hidden in the dark, that's a place that the enemy has reign over, you know. And my brother was dealing with a difficult set of circumstances, man. Both of his feet amputated due to health issues. It saved his life, man. Thank God. People were praying all over the place. But man, we didn't realize on the inside he was dealing with another battle, man. I mean, he was doing well on the outside, you know, he's recovering, but on the inside, man, it's getting darker and darker. And man, there was this time of confrontation. There's a time when he shared what was going on inside there, man. The Lord began to deal with it, and the Lord began to bring healing on the inside. So this anthem sort of comes out of that place of like, don't be scared to bring into the light what you've got hidden in there, because man, there's not condemnation in the Lord. There's healing in the Lord. The enemy only has power over what is hidden in darkness. When you bring it into the light, man, that's the domain of the Lord, man. You can get healing. Yeah.
Let me hit you with this first question, Mike. When you are at a church service, maybe you and your wife sitting there in a congregation, you're not up on stage, it's a random off weekend, so you're just a parishioner in the crowd.
I love it.
And the band up there chooses a song that you have written or sweated over. Is it difficult at that moment for you to worship because of what you have tied to what they're singing?
You know, it is a little bit, because you're like wondering what they're going to do with it. It's not what happens with it as much as what you're wondering is about to happen with it. But man, what is really overwhelming, no pun intended, is really though, because it's happened in our church before, and I was sitting there and man, I just started weeping, because I'm like going, man, this came like out of my garage or like my office or whatever in my house. And man, Jesus is using it, you know, out of other people's lips, worshiping him. That's a pretty special thing, man. So I love when that happens, man.
Yeah, something none of us will ever get to experience. So that's cool. You get to watch, like if you are people watching in that. That's why I was asking, is like, I think if I wrote that song, there's no way I could enter into 3 minutes of adoration, because I would be people watching everybody.
Dude, I was like, just imagine if you're Chris Tomlin though. You couldn't go anywhere. You know, it's like you go in there like every song you like wrote down. Oh yeah, I remember when I wrote that one, and I wrote that one. Or I was over at Jason Ingram's house one day, and we were talking about, like, we were writing stuff, but then I was telling him all about this Matt Redman song. I was like, dude, there's this song, it's called Holy. It's so awesome. I stayed up he's got this smirk on his face, like, you wrote it with him, didn't you? And he kind of is like, yep. It's like I was telling him all about his song.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that. I had this moment the other day, Mike, where I was I finished a longer run. I went for a run. I was cooling down. I don't run far, but I got it in for weight loss purposes.
Come on, you're doing it.
And so as I'm cooling down, I look at my phone to see, how slow was that run, and it said I cannot access the phone because I'm driving. And I laughed to myself, like, my phone thinks that I was driving during that run.
Dude, you were hauling, man. Come on, dude.
But
you're a machine, Jayar.
I was by myself, and I laughed out loud over something. Like, is there ever a moment in your day where you find yourself laughing alone at the stupidest things? And if nothing comes to mind, we can move on. I just wanted to present.
Dude, it has to be something with my kids, though. You know what I mean? I would love to think of an instance because it would crack everybody up then because they're just absolutely genius. And I'm telling you, they come up with some of the things I hear, and a lot of them are in conversations like with their mom. Candace homeschools our kids, and so I hear these conversations go down. I hear these petitions and these arguments come from the other room about how they're talking their way out of certain things or whatever, and that's the kind of stuff that I laugh out loud about when nobody's around.
Oh, so, they're like it's a little comedy factory, and I think that helps me more than it helps you because it's tough to write songs for a new Big Daddy Weave album that have to do with potty training, But for me, it's all gold for the radio.
You know it. It's beautiful.
I can sit with a notepad and just stare all day at what's going on, and it's just it's all feeding the mortgage at that point.
I love it, dude. I love it. That's beautiful. That's real life there. I love it.
Let's go into the second sampling of the new album. New album comes out next Friday from Big Daddy Weave. We've already played one of them. Let's go into a slower one this time.
Yes.
What's the one you want to walk us up?
Man, the song's called I Know. And after the season we're through, the season with my brother's health, my dad passed away the very next year. My mom got a cancer diagnosis the year after that. Ooh. It was just like bang, 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 these things. And it rocked me because it came out of a season where we're seeing nothing but the miraculous, seeing God just do some of the most incredible things. But then we're hit with this season where we're not seeing it for us in that moment. And there's so many things that you don't know in that moment. It makes you question and all kinds of stuff like that. And it dawns on us at one point, look, you can't stand on what you don't know. But there are some things that we do know. And this song was born out of the place. Man, my friend Benji Cowart's an awesome songwriter. Hank Bentley, great songwriter. They sent me this song. They included me kind of on the bridge. It was like it was a nod, but these guys wrote my heart, man. They wrote my guts in this last season. And this is our confession in the middle of a time when we're uncertain. There are some things that we are certain of, and it's born out of this season, man, and these confessions.
Mike Weaver, my guest of Big Daddy Weave. New album comes out on Friday of next week. We've already played you a couple of samplings. We're going to talk about a new book that I'm actually interested to read because you're one of the biggest spiritual encouragements in my life. Just from a one-on-one, when we get to chat, I end up, okay, that's for air, that's for air, that's for me, that's for air. So,
man, bro.
But I also know that you have the ability to go fun as well. But let's think out of the box here. And kids, don't write any of this down. This is not theological. But what age, Mike, will you look like in heaven? The age that you die, ageless, maybe nothing that shows age. And maybe what age do you think God will be? Young? Will he be the old man you see in paintings? Or maybe will we not be able to tell?
That's so awesome, dude. That is so awesome. I love thinking about things like this. When my dad went home to be with the Lord, I've been thinking about that. I'm like, what does my dad look like right now? Is he like the little kid version of himself? Or is he? Yeah, totally. And I think there is going to be like a youthful element to it, But we're talking about, we're going to be singing around the throne of one who's called the Ancient of Days. Right. So, but man, I think he's the author of life. So I think he's, whatever it is going to be in his prime, dude. You know what I mean? And so I'm believing I'm like, Lord, just grandfather me into that one too then. I want to get in my prime. See, my prime was never really prime though, you see? And so I don't really know what we're dealing with. I don't know what we're really looking at, but it's like we're just hoping for the best version, the best version of it. And maybe something we've never even seen yet, right? Yeah. It's like, I love it.
Think about this. If it is the age you died, how unfair would that be? If somebody gets hit by a bus in their 60s and then they're in heaven in their 60s, like, why couldn't that happen when I was 20? Then I could be riding on clouds like everybody else.
Dude, I don't think it's going to happen that way. Again, we're not like backing this up with theology.
Yeah, don't write any of this down.
But I love doing this. You know why though? Because it has me not thinking about what's on Facebook right now. Right. It has me thinking about what's, set your mind on things above, man, And so even though we don't have the answer to that question, I love that that's where our hearts are right now.
We should be talking about this more than anything because 75, 80 years on this planet is such a flash in the pan compared to eternity, but yet we'll stress about stupid stuff.
Absolutely. Even it's like some weeks ago or months ago, they come out with the app thing, and everybody has these old man pictures of themselves or whatever. And I'm like going, dude, we are borrowing trouble here. Like, what are we doing right now? It's like, this is terrifying, man. Don't put this on us right now. Come on. We got a little bit more time, Yeah.
I have just, it's a hobby of mine to collect books that I'm like, that'll change my life. I'm going to go get that. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to download it to my phone. And then I get a chapter in and it like wrecks me in a good way. And then it adds, and then all of a sudden I forget about it. So I am a collector of amazing books that will change my life.
I'm just so glad that I'm not the only person who does that. Like, you just really validated my life a little bit actually right now. I do that same thing.
I told Bart Miller, he came out with a devotional, and I led off the interview with, bro, I got your daily devotional, and it is now on my kid's bathroom toilet, covered in a layer of dust. He's like, thank you for sharing that with me. You either, maybe put it in a more prominent place, not on the back of the toilet, or start feeding your kids more, figs.
Making a difference. that ring is never going to show up on the coffee table as long as my drink can sit on this book, right? It's like,
so all that set up to say, there is a new book out from Mike Weaver. Can you just give us how it came to be?
Here's another coaster, coaster for your coffee table. No, it's called I Am Redeemed. Man, it's just my testimony over the last few years. And we keep referring to this season of life that we've been through. Man, it's got all of that while we thought we were done, and then we weren't done because we were still living it, And man, a lot of people who follow Big Daddy, they know the story of me dealing with self-hatred and just dealing with identity kind of stuff. And man, as we began to share those things, God just began to really meet people where they were at in their lives with stuff like that. And I told our manager, Jim, I said, man, I think there's a book in this. I am not that guy. And so, man, if you can help me get there, man, let's write this together. And so it was really cool. Jim's been our manager for like 17 years now. Yeah. We're great friends, we're family, and we just sat together and we just went back through life, man. And so the cool thing about it, we finished the book and it's out, I Am Redeemed, Learning to Live in Grace. I got invited.
A couple days ago.
Yeah. I got invited to sit and do the audiobook, right? So I love audiobooks. I have a way better chance of finishing a book if it's an audiobook, you know? And so they let me read it down. And so it took a really long time. But the guys kept wanting to take a break. And I'm like, dude, I can sit in one place better than anybody I know. You know what I mean? That's the nature of Big Daddies. You know what I mean? It's like we are fairly stationary. You know what I'm saying?
Bus driver.
Totally, man. I'd make an awesome bus driver. Totally. And so I'm sitting there. We're reading it down. We get done with it. And I was so moved. I was like, I was so moved that just remembering what the Lord had done, man, and his faithfulness towards me. There's not a lot in that book I can point to about my faithfulness, you know?
Yeah.
But this entire project is remembering the faithfulness of God and what he's seen us through and what he continues to see us through. Because it's not this nice, neat thing, you know? Right. It's like you have this moment where you have this revelation in the Lord. Then, man, a lot of the book is about me going, and then Mike went there again. You know what I mean? It's that thing. But the truth is, God hasn't given up on us even when we do. And that's what this whole book is about.
All right, Mike Weaver is my guest here. A new album comes out next Friday, and it is going to be packed full of songs that will wreck you in a good way. The new book from Mike Weaver has just come out. You can find it on Amazon, places you buy books. And now we also have a sort of a reality show to talk about.
Man.
How did this happen?
Well, I'll tell you, that's like, dude, big dudes. I mean, I'm already stressed out just because of the cameras that are here. I mean, we're not looking for a television show. You know what I mean? Well, Matt Crouch from TBN called, and we were just sharing, and he was talking about some songs that had ministered to him. And by the end of the conversation, we'd just been talking about life. And he goes, look, I want you to make a show about this. And I was like, oh, no, dude, you got the wrong guy. You know what I mean? We do not, not cameras, not coming on the bus, not coming on, all this stuff. But I really felt compelled in the Lord. He was saying, I want you to share this stuff. And I was like, well, what do we have to share, man? We're like these church dudes and like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it dawns on me, yeah, but like losing your feet to amputation is not necessarily a church thing, Hating yourself every day because you don't really realize who Jesus says you are. That's not a church thing, Our drummer, Brian, man, and his wife and their struggle with, fertility and trying to become pregnant and have a family, dealing with those issues, that's not a church thing necessarily. And, man, I'll tell you, man, the Lord just began to allow us to share from this place of the things that we've been through from pain, and here we have this thing. They followed us around on the bus. We went to, man, it's, on the ocean. We've been in the snow. We've been it's like every kind of place that they followed us around into, and us just kind of telling the story of this last season while we're on the road and ministering and having our families out and being at home, like all those things, and trying to finish this record at the same time. It's kind of like the chronicle of this record as well. And so,
and people can find it on TBN.
TBN, that's exactly right.
Okay.
In September, I believe 11, 12, something like that.
Okay, so right next week. Right around the album. Okay.
Yep, right before the record comes out.
Okay, I'm thinking of The Office, how they followed the Office around, but then all the things they were filming air on a PBS documentary, and they're like, oh no, now everybody gets to see. Is there anything in the filming you're like, oh gosh, I hope that makes the editing room floor?
Oh man, I felt like the whole thing would be that way, and we were like sitting up at night going like, oh man, is this going to be like the most embarrassing thing ever? I mean, we are not those people. Like, they don't want to see, man, this is not going to be interesting. And then we start watching it back, and it just seemed real, man. And that's something that the Lord's doing, I think. And it's our offering, man. We're not trying to be anybody. We realize that anything that we have or anything that we are is only Jesus, and that's what we're presenting to people. And we're trying to be as transparent in the entire process as we can be.
Awesome. I have to infuse my kind of common questions because, you say amazing things that our audience needs to hear. And that is your gift to us. And thank you for using that and not avoiding it. I appreciate it. But so I need to infuse just common things into our conversation just to balance us out. What do you struggle with tipping in your world? Like I was saying to somebody the other day that my parents almost turned down a free cruise from a friend because my dad was having anxiety about, how do I tip every meal? The guy that takes our bags, the guy that he's like, I'll be tipping all day.
I know, man, because when I guess this is where we start getting old or whatever, because like back in the day, that was you come somewhere and you sit down somewhere and you do that, then there's a tip that's involved in that or whatever. Yeah. But then you go through like the fast food window somewhere and then there's a tip line on there. You're like, I don't know, man. It's like, dude, is that for me? Because I came to you. I came to the window now. It's
like when you do a pickup order at a Chili's or something, and then there's the tip line. I always feel so guilty not doing anything, but I'm like, this is no different than McDonald's.
They always get me, dude. They do it because I give just because of the verse that Paul says, I pray that you be blessed so you be generous on every occasion. I'm telling you that scripture like haunts me, man. And so I just do it.
Now I have guilt.
I just do it. And that was not for guilt, but you know what, man? It's like we're coming out of the old into the new, Jayar, And so I try to do it, but there's sometimes it's like, well, this is just ridiculous. There's no, it's like this tip line was for something else. That's like,
or it's the only receipt they could have purchased on Amazon. It has a tip thing. They know you're not going to use it, but it's there.
Like, you have the conversation while it's happening. Yeah, I get it,
Hungry
dude.
Howie's. I call my kids are like, can you get a pizza on your way home? And is this pick up delivery? It's pick up. And so I'm like, why would I write $1 on the line when I came in? And
that's at the same. We were at a place as well. It's like we came in to pick up a pizza.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude,
there's no difference between that and the drive-through getting a Whopper. Like those are the same transactions, but yet somebody's got a tip line.
It's true. And at the same time, then I like feel it happening, dude. You're just like, I feel the oldness setting in, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, because I'm hearing things that come out of like young people's mouths and I'm going like, are you crazy? You know what? And then all of a sudden your parents are like, are falling out of your mouth. It's
I feel like I need to bring a bunch of ones to back to Burger King and say, hey guys, I'm sorry. I've been tipping at Hungry Howie's and Chili's for no reason. So I feel like I owe you guys like at least $15 in ones.
These are back tips. That's exactly right. It's like, yeah.
They're like, I can't take those. I don't know. We've never had anybody who was a tip before.
That's amazing.
Wrapping up with Mike Weaver of Big Daddy Weave. 3 things I want to put on your radar. A book has just come out from Mike Weaver. You can find that on Amazon. The name of the book is
I Am Redeemed.
I Am Redeemed. You should know that because of the song Redeemed. And then next week, show on TBN, reality show following the guys around. If you should have TBN if you have a cable package. And then the big one is new album coming out next Friday or Thursday night at midnight, featuring some of the songs we play. But we're going to, first of all, thank you for coming in. It's always a privilege to have you on. But we're going to end with something a little special. We brought a piano into the studio just kind of as a let's see what happens with different artists. A lot of the artists we have on, they're guitar players. Some are just vocalists. You're just a guitar player. So with an instrument, maybe next year we'll bring in a cello and just see how ridiculous. Not bagpipes, I think that would rub people wrong. But we're gonna set the clock to 30 seconds, and we call this tickling the ivories, just to see how people's favorite Joy FM artists will do sitting in front of a keyboard. Do you play at all, or is that going to be a surprise to us?
Man, it is a bit of a surprise now that you say it, even as I'm like processing this, but it's like I mess around at home, but it is not good, man. It is not good. It's like I can kind of sometimes communicate to somebody else who can play, and so I don't know what's going to happen. This could be very terrible.
Let's go get mic'd up around the piano, and people can see this on the Insta and Facebook.
So why you do this to people? why do you do this?
I found that I'm not entertaining enough to carry a whole interview, and so I got to come up with gimmicks to keep people around. Hence, we brought the piano in for Tickling the Ivories with Mike Weaver, who does not play piano. Thus, 30 seconds of whatever we're about to hear.
The song Redeemed was born on the piano, even though I was not a piano player. And so we'll just get through like a chorus of Redeemed. Okay. In the wrong key, because I can only play in one key.
Okay. I wouldn't even call you on it. I don't even know. Well, that sounds familiar, yeah.
Now I'm not who I used to be, 'cause I am redeemed. Thank God, redeemed.
There we go. That is a good move, going with a song that you know.
So are you going to sit down now and show us your skills on the piano?
I'll show you the one thing I know. This is Jayar tickling the ivories as payback. I know one thing on piano. It's the same thing on guitar. I know one thing. And somebody taught me, I say, this song is called Jailbreak. And you get ready for a Johnny Cash type song.
I'm ready, dude.
The trick is...
I know that same song, dude.
You just make it sound like you're trying to break out of jail. So along those lines, this is the only thing I know on piano, and it's so random. In 1979, 1980, Close Encounters came out.
Come on, dude.
And the alien noise that they try to communicate with the humans is a freaky movie, E.T. time period, but the aliens do this tune that's how they speak. And somehow somebody showed it to me. That's how the aliens speak. It's so creepy. But I started to get creative, and I'm like, you can do that backwards, and it sounds good too.
You're on to something, dude. This is how people write songs in Nashville every day. That was a hit. Let's flip it around this way and see if it can be or whatever. There you got it. You're it, dude. You're in the songwriting community now.
Oh, thank
you. Look at that improvisation. I love it.
Thank you so much. No, I can't fit into skinny jeans, but...
Dude, look, the struggle is real. You know what I'm saying?
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.